Good morning and welcome to a new update in which we are going to discuss Bitcoin and Ethereum in this morning update, as that is usually what we do on Monday, but in this period it's actually quite boring. We can see that Bitcoin is still chopping around, trending south just like it has been doing in May, and in the meantime altcoins are not doing too well. And today, the US stock markets will be opening at a pretty red number. So will that have an impact on the price action of Bitcoin? That's what we're going to have in the update of this morning. But before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this YouTube update, and check out my Twitter and Instagram where you can find my daily market content on cryptocurrencies. So let's head to the charts immediately as we can discuss what the price action is doing on Bitcoin right now. So when we're looking at the actual facts right now, we can see that the US stock markets will be having a pretty bad day when it comes to today. Also the European stock markets will be opening with red numbers. So we are actually making ourselves ready for some heavy volatility in the last few weeks of this entire year. So this might be giving us an impact on the price action, given the fact that the DXY has been showing us the strength or the weakness of the markets. And now we can see that Bitcoin is still having that corrective period, which is currently facing a support level. So when we're looking at the DXY at this stage, we already concluded that it's facing a resistance point and that the RSI is accelerating quite fast. But until it keeps going upwards with the actual trend, which we are currently seeing as well, Bitcoin will just be printing an inverse chart at this stage, in which Bitcoin is facing a higher time frame support zone and the DXY is facing a higher time frame resistance zone, which has to be rejected at some point in time. And right now we can just see that the DXY is ready for another test on higher points based on this price action and based on the price construction that we have at this stage. Looking at Bitcoin, we can still conclude that we've got this higher time frame support that we have been bouncing from. That's this entire block that we are facing at this stage. And it's in between let's say, bullish people would argue that we are in a falling wedge construction. Bearish people would argue that we're going to have a nosedive relatively soon again, just like we have been witnessing previously. On the other hand, I think that the actual price action is comparable to the price action that we've had in the summer, in which we just keep on bouncing and dropping south, bounce after another, in which we are seeking for higher time frame support, which is very comparable to the price action that we have been witnessing in May, in which we retested a crucial support level. So I would not be surprised if we do the exact same with the region around 42k. Looking at the 4-hour price action here, we can still argue or conclude that we are making those lower highs and lower lows, right? So we are still making that structure, and in order to actually make a benefit or break this entire trend, we have to conclude that we're making a higher low, or we need to nosedive ourselves, get ourselves back up, and then start trending up. And then usually what you want to see, or what you prefer to see, is a higher volume in which you can see a high liquidity wick, which brings that people are liquidated overall on the trade itself. And then you have enough liquidity to actually reverse the entire trend. So when we're looking at Bitcoin at this stage, we might be facing ourselves another drop down towards the entire region around 43.8, as that is a very important block that I'm seeing here. And what you want to see in the reversal structure is something like we have been seeing in September as well. We've been keeping the support, and in this case you want to see a consolidation just briefly around the resistance zone, after which the moment that we start cracking this entire resistance structure, and I'll start to zoom in a little bit more, the moment that we start to crack this first one, which is here around 48k, we've got many resistance points just a little bit above us. So most likely we're going to get a short squeeze, which triggers all those stops to be taken out. And then I would not be surprised if we run all the way towards 53 or 57k, leaving many people behind, given the fact that that is usually how we reverse. That's also how we have been reversing in May and in September. So that's definitely a scenario that I'm looking at. With the crucial levels to look at is the range around 44k, but also what are we going to make a higher low here? If we do, this is the primary scenario in which I believe that the reversal will be relatively fast when it comes to the markets. And it would also not be a surprise whether we're going to have a bounce back up after a red start of the week. The equity markets are going to open in the red, but hopefully we can actually shine once again after that bounce and create ourselves an end of the year run, or at least a bounce. Ethereum against USDT, not much to say at this stage. We are also still falling south. We've got some crucial levels that we're watching here. We've been bouncing from those in the past, through which I'm not assuming we're going to drop even further below. Right now we are still making lower lows and lower highs. So at this point, this is the crucial support for me to look at if we want to see any bounce taking place. If we want to crack any resistance, we have to crack this first one, and then we can start running upwards. Very short update, but I'll be back later today with another one.